He urged, too, some reapportionment of parliamentary seats to secure a stronger voice in the nation's political councils for the fast-growing industrial North. His essay, soon expanded and published as a 2-shilling pamphlet, proceeded from an optimistic view of the age. Free trade, an improved poor law, municipal reform, a more enlightened colonial policy, and the abolition of forced tithing to the Church of England were among the signs of progress. All had followed the expansion of the franchise with the Reform Act of 1832. The authors of that profound legislation had succeeded in transferring the predominant influence in the state from certain special classes to the general aggregate of fairly instructed men. Not that you could prove the point with statistics, Bagehot allowed. We must trust to our eyes and ears, to the vague but conclusive evidence of events. Among some of the free traders who had stood shoulder to shoulder with Wilson since the Corn Law struggles of the 1840s, John Bright was one, there was a strain of almost pure democracy. Bagehot was immune to it. The schoolboy who had characterized his classmates as the mob, and the adult who, in this very essay, condemned the vulgarity of the U.S. Congress. Men of refinement shrink from the House of Representatives as from a parish vestry, had no sympathy for universal suffrage. Still and all for society's own good, the lower orders, too, must be heard. In every free country it is of the utmost importance, and in the long run a pressing necessity, that all opinions extensively entertained, all sentiments widely diffused, should be stated publicly before the nation. We may place the real decision of questions, the actual adoption of policies, in the ordinary and fair intelligence of the community, or in the legislature which represents it. But we must also take care to bring before that fair intelligence and that legislature the sentiments, the interests, the opinions, the prejudices, the wants of all classes of the nation. We must be sure that no decision is come to in ignorance of real facts and intimate wants. Publication of parliamentary reform made a sensation. Bagehot's admirers showered the essay with praise, some of which they conveyed to Wilson with the request that he pass it along to his new son-in-law. Wilson went a step further. He invited a dozen of these appreciative and prominent readers. Public animals, Bagehot called the members of the star-studded guest list, to toast the author at dinner. William E. Gladstone, William Makepeace Thackeray, Lord Grey, Lord Granville, Sir George Cornwall Lewis, and Robert Lowe were among the eminences who gathered around Wilson's table at 12 Upper Belgrave Street on April 1st, 1859. Lowe, an Oxford classicist turned Liberal Member of Parliament, had bypassed Wilson to praise Bagehot directly. The essay, wrote Lowe in a letter, is beyond compare the best I have seen on the subject, and is indeed written with the insight of a statesman and the moderation of a philosopher. Emily Barrington, Eliza's little sister, would often watch her brother-in-law pull a very tiny notebook from his waistcoat and jot down fleeting thoughts. One such entry said this: "Living really in the political world is the greatest possible gain in a political country. Knowing at first hand what others know at second hand only." On April 4th, 3 days after the Wilson hosted dinner to honour the author of Parliamentary Reform, the Walter Bagehots attended a party at the Gladstones' home. The inside world of politics had a new member. Eliza had expressed the hope that her fiancé would make a name for himself on money, and Bagehot presently tackled the subject head-on. The outpouring of gold from the mines in California and Australia prompted concern about a new inflation. As a superabundant harvest would tend to reduce the price of food, so the argument went, would the recent gold strikes in California